Audio check. Okay, I think it should be up and running. Everyone should be able to see. Just gonna give people a moment to join into the stream. Alright. We'll wait for a few minutes. Good morning, Dico. It's good afternoon where I am, but that is why I always begin it with a good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you're in the world. But greetings nonetheless. Good to have you with us. I did not even start the replay. Alright, so we are gonna wait for another minute or so. I think we're gonna give people an opportunity to just join into the stream. And we will have a look. So it's a 16 driver grid. We have 12 laps ahead of us. Let's just wait for a moment. Or should we get going? I don't know, maybe we can get going. Alright, I think we can start in a moment or so. Should be fine. Alright, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you may be in the world. Welcome back to Aero League Racing. This is season 19 of the Gr3 Championship, round 5 of the Tier 3 White Division, and this is the sprint race around Sardegna, road track B. Hello, You've Cube as well. Greetings to everyone who's joined in. And yes, I think for once I have said the introduction in the correct order. So let's have a look at the grid before we start our race. So we have the Beamer of Fancy Locks on pole, the speedy Brazilian is on pole. As he mentioned, he would like to be called A. He's still not mentioned what he would like to be called as. I just called him A for these 5 rounds of the season. So I think I will stick with the A in this number 610 Lamborghini in P2, and his teammate right behind him, Epsilon Delta, with a nice set of liveries. These two, I think they've changed their liveries around for this race. So A is in P2, Epsilon in P3. I assume everybody's going to be on softs, unless I see otherwise. I think that's going to be the case. Cherry is P4, so not too far behind his teammate. LT Rocker in the Subaru is P5. Kling, the Great Dane, is in P6. Goose in 7th. Dijkstra, I think that's the way to call it. Dijkstra in the Audi is in P8. Deco is in P9 in the Alpha, and Turbo Boy is P10 in the Porsche. Outside the top 10, we have Y-Cube, that's I think the correct way to say it, in 11th in the Jaguar. D-Dubs in 12th in the Mercedes. Zelda in the Subarus in 13th. Nate in 14th in the other Peugeot. JMS is 15th, and Sapper has been the lone Ferrari for most of the season. He is in 16th at the tail end of the grid. So I think with that sorted, I assume I haven't seen anybody on the medium. So tire wasn't as much of an issue here as say it was around Alsace, whatever the French circuit is. But we have 12 laps with the sprint to go. I think without any further ado, let's get underway. So let's go. 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights ahead of the drivers, and when the lights go out, we go racing. Fancy gets a decent start, although it's a pretty long run towards turn 1. Slipstream could play a very important effect here if somebody's got a pretty good straight line speed advantage. But behind Fancy Locks, you can see there's a whole lot of chaos about to ensue in the midfield. LT Rocker, what a start! He's moved up to P2. A has fallen back. I do not see A anywhere. I'm assuming he's had a very terrible start. And Deepak saying that you're suffering from flu. Well, you are in P10 or so that should not be much of an issue. We'll have a look at your progress a little later on. Vycube's got a good start as well. So there's been a bit of shuffling about of the order. I don't see A anywhere. What has happened to A? Where is A? Never mind. Sorry. I think I made a mistake then. Yeah, LT Rocker in P2. So I made a few mistakes here with the. Oh, it's not just me who's made a mistake. I can see a Vycube following his teammate Kling Kachao. Let's have a look, going through his right-hander into the downhill section. So has Cherry made contact with him? Cherry's gone backwards from P4 down to P7, and Vycube just putting on the throttle a little bit too aggressively, and that's resulted in him going into the wall. That is not the way you want your race start to go. And what's going on here? We can see Kling making a lot of contact with a lot of drivers. So Epsilon onto the gravel. A has a moment, and A is still on the grass. A rejoins the track, and that is nothing that Kling could do there. Cherry gets past, Dykstra gets past, and GMS gets past as well. So that is pretty hectic start for A, for Kling, and for Vycube as well. But Dykstra's gone off. Cherry is had to take some evasive action, as has GMS. Into this left-hander we go. It's going to be a pretty popular spot, I think, for overtakes in the feature race. But for now, we're in the sprint. 12 laps of the sprint to go. We are about to end the first lap of the sprint, and we can see Cherry all over the rear end of the Audi here of Dykstra. Takes a little bit to the grass, but keeps it under control. GMS has not been able to do so. Has lost a whole lot of momentum, and he said that this is his debut with the Deluxe livery. Deluxe, how do you say it? That is the correct way to go about it. And he's saying it's not worked out. Well, we're about to find out why. We're about to be overtaken by Turbo Boy, it seems. What a contrast from a few races ago. But so the switchback GMS, nice move, and there's some pretty good racing up front as well. Dykstra and Cherry battling it out. Cherry still ahead of the Audi as we go into this very elevation heavy section. We have a lot of elevation changes around this track. It's a very technical track. I like it for that reason. Kling has a look down the inside but doesn't decide to do anything about it. And I think I am seeing something. So Epsilon has got a penalty. We can have a look at why. Or is that for the last corner? Must be the only place where you can. So you can see the two Lamborghinis have not had a particularly pleasant start in any way. So let's have a look here. That's pretty straightforward here. Epsilon has picked up a penalty for going over track limits at the final corner. Let's get back to this action. So the Lamborghinis are not having a good time, but we are seeing some very good racing in the form of GMS in the Alpha Turbo in the Peugeot. We are also seeing Dykstra and Cherry. So let's have a look. This time around we left off right about here, I think. So going into this downhill section, we can see Dykstra chasing after Cherry. Kling is right behind the pair of them. Just waiting for an opportunity, just waiting to build up some momentum and make the move on the Audi and the BMW. So for the back, Audi's still in a swap position. Doesn't seem like it. Zappa, what a start! He's gone from 16th up to 9th. Zelda also, I don't think, had a particularly pleasant time. A, however, has had the worst time of the lot. He's gone from, I think it was 3rd all the way down to 11th. So his sprint has been undone from the get-go. Cherry's exit has been undone there as well. He's not done himself any favors because this is going to give Dykstra a very good chance into turn 1, provided he can get good slipstream and send it down the inside possibly, or does he want to go around the outside? What's he going to do? Dykstra looking for a way to get past the BMW. Cherry brakes at a reasonable point. Dykstra tries to go for the switchback, can't do a whole lot about it, and I think they can hold positions for now. For the back, what about these two? Turbo and JMS, they are also going to stay as they are. No, they're not. JMS was gone a little bit wide there. That's going to allow the Peugeot of Turbo to get past, but what about these two? They're still going at it. Wow, this is going to get fun. This is not the battle for the podium, but still a battle for some very valuable points here. What about those two for the back? Turbo and GMS. GMS has not been able to find a way back past Turbo after that little moment there, and GMS falls to P8. Turbo moves up to 7. Sapper's not too far behind him either, so don't discount Sapper here. I think they can follow these two as well. Up front, LT is not able to keep close to Fancy, who I think will just, by the looks of it, just be running away with the race. So we can get to watching that a little bit later. What's happening here? Has he made a move on the outside? Extra. No, Cherry's taken to the gravel. And has he really made a move on the outside? Extra. Well done if that is the case. Cherry gives him the respect and racing room. And Dykstra gets past. Very well done, Dijkstra. Cherry now down to P5 and under a lot of pressure from Kling, who's been biding his time. He's, I think, a bit of a calculated driver. He knows when to take some risks and be aggressive, and when to just settle into a rhythm. And I think this is the moment where we're going to see him be a little aggressive, go for the move. Goes to the right hand side of the track. Cherry is not able to do a whole lot here. Plus, Kling is also getting the slipstream from Dijkstra, so this is going to be pretty beneficial for Kling if he's able to nail this entire section. Into turn 1 we go, breaking his left-hander section. There's a little bit of contact. Cherry stays ahead. I don't think Kling will be particularly pleased with that, but he is still ahead of having an opportunity here. So let's have a look into this left-hander we go, this braking zone, this uphill section. Are we going to see Kling go for a move around the outside? Are we going to see Cherry force him off circuit? There is not a whole lot of room between them, but it is still fair racing, I think. And Kling trying to find a way past Cherry, not allowing it right now. And as we exit the corner and go into this downhill section, they are almost side by side here. There's a little bit of contact, that maybe phantom contact here, but Cherry seems to be loosening his grip on P5, and I think which is gonna go Kling's way. And look at this Turbo Boy out of nowhere, sends it down the inside. JMS sliding around. We need to have another look at that, because how has that happened? Turbo Boy will see the two ahead of him having a bit of a tussle here. GMS can also see the three ahead of him getting involved in something, a bit of a skirmish here. He's gonna get interested. Turbo sends it down the inside. There's a little bit of contact, I think, between Cherry and Turbo. Yeah, there you go. So GMS will be looking to benefit, capitalize on all this. And going around the outside, GMS, and there's a little bit of contact there between GMS and Cherry. Cherry losing 3 places in the span of a few corners. GMS and Turbo still battling it out. There's a little bit of contact here between the Alpha and the Peugeot, and GMS gets ahead. Turbo down to 7th, and Cherry is not going to give this up without a fight. He is still battling it out, but I think he eventually will have to yield. Cherry falls to P8, and he's let Turbo, GMS and Kling get ahead of him on 1 lap. That has to be pretty painful for him, I think, in the grand scheme of things, given that this is some pretty valuable points on offer here, even though it's the sprint. Let's have a look at Zelda. Is he going to be able to get past Cherry as well? Or is actually Cherry trying to set up a move on Turbo Boy? Let's have a look as we go into the braking zone, approaching the end of the first sector, and that is a little bit of contact, I think, between Zelda and Cherry. Up front, we haven't given a whole lot of airtime to these two, and that's because they've been pretty much in control since the get-go. LT Rocker and Fancy. It'll be more interesting for them in the feature, but we are currently going to follow this battle here. What's going on between Cherry and Zelda? Zelda trying to find a way past, trying to emulate some of the successes teammate is currently seeing. Zelda breaks late, goes around the outside. Cherry will defend it, and Cherry holds his position. That was hard racing. What's happened there to Sapper? He was in a very good position. He fell down 1 place to P10, but has he made contact with the A? Oh, he has, and that has to be very, very annoying for Sapper there, falling from 10th to 15th, and that's because a little bit of contact with A. I don't think he'll be very pleased with that, will Sapper, but now A is on a bit of a recovery mission, and he's now found his way to the top 10. JMS and Turbo battling it out, so this is very reminiscent of Interlagos, I think it is, where Turbo was just being held up by JMS for so many laps. Fairly so. Let's see if Turbo can find a way past. On this occasion, JMS trying to cover the inside, but he's not done so effectively enough. Tries to defend it at in the braking zone, but nothing doing there. Turbo finds a way past. JMS going for the switchback, but I don't think it's going to amount to anything. Turbo will cover him off, and I could hear the barrier clattering there. Did somebody have contact for the back? Did A and Zelda have contact? Let's see. A is just desperately trying to find a way past. Inside, outside. He goes for the outside. And we can hear, there's a bit of contact between Goose and A. A is onto the gravel slightly, but still behind Zelda. And up front, let's have a look at Cherry, GMS and so on. For the back, whoa, that's A trying to push for a move on the Subaru. And the Subaru goes very wide there. Let's boost by, and Nate may also try to, I think, find a way past. Into this right-hander we go, downhill right-hander. Zelda is able to keep Nate at bay, but he's lost the place to Goose. So this is crucial. You need to be in that top 10. Rather, you need to be in that P10 if you want to salvage something in the sprint, in the feature. The sprint is not going particularly well, because obviously P10 in the sprint will give you P1 for the feature race start. Nate and Deco battling it out, and Deco getting past the Peugeot. What about D-Dubs? Can he do something? He started P12, if I'm not wrong, D-Dubs, and now is currently in 14th, so he's not having a particularly nice time either himself. Let's have a look at this battling trio, JMS, Turbo and Cherry. So something I think you will notice, I did notice it in my race as well, the one I did, it was that if you are involved in a lot of battle, a lot of intense battling, you can lose a whole lot of time to those ahead of you. So as we can see here, these two have been involved in a battle for quite a few laps now, and they've lost, what is it, I think about 7-8 seconds to the drivers ahead. Turbo tries for a move down the inside. That is going to be I think a thing that we'll need to look at in the feature race. I think going for now, JMS and Cherry make a little bit of contact, and Cherry finds a way past the Alpha. Turbo 6th, Cherry up to 7. Now JMS will have fast charging A behind him. Turbo has gone very wide there by the looks of it. Or is it just an alternative line that he wanted to take to get a slightly different, better exit out of the corner? In any case, Turbo is still holding on to 6th. Up front, Kling and Dijkstra battling it out, so Dijkstra is now behind the Jaguar, and that was a bit of a slide. I was wondering where that was leading to, that little slide from Dijkstra, but they still hold position. These two are also battling it out, so I think unless these three have a moment or a spin, they are going to finish where they are presently in, the position they're presently in. Fancy, LT and Epsilon. Turbo has not got a particularly good exit, but he is far enough ahead of Cherry to not have to worry about it too much. Somebody will have to worry quite a bit is JMS, who's got A all over his rear end. And let's have a look into turn 1. JMS has left the inside open once again. A will send it, I don't think, JMS I think knows that it doesn't make sense to fight A right now at that point in the corner, because he wants to go for the switchback, and the Irish driver gets past the Italian. And as we go towards this uphill braking zone, let's have a look if A can do something about dispatching JMS. Doesn't look like it at the moment. Who's still holding on to P10, Deco in 11th, so for that I don't think, Sapper's just not had a good point. We earlier saw Sapper in this P10. We'll have a look at the rest of the run in a moment. We'll probably focus on this right now. A versus JMS. I think A will try for a move down the inside. It was an opportunity that presented itself. There's contact JMS and A, and look at who's going to join the party here. It's Goose in the McLaren, who is just eager, desperate to find a way past. These two are properly battling it out here. A has been hit by JMS there and falls to P11. Deco now up to P10. The two Alphas are very close together on track, so they need to work together well as a team in order to keep these guys behind or prevent them from getting ahead in whatever case. JMS and Goose moves up to P8. Deco up to 9th. JMS falls to P10, which could very well become P11 as we start lap 9 of 12. Deco will, I think, just want to defend and help out his teammate a little bit here. A is in a bit of an alpha sandwich. Let's see what he can do as we go into turn 1. Has to brake a little bit later there and is rammed by JMS a little bit. And that allows him to keep his position, and JMS has fallen down the order to 12th, which will probably become 13th given how wide he was going there. And this race just seems to be going from bad to worse for JMS. He's tumbling down the order, so that's not how you want your race to go in any case. Goose, let's see if we can hold on to this position. What about these two, Turbo and Cherry? Doesn't look like a whole lot of battling going on right now. Hello Goose, welcome. We've just seen you make some overtakes and get up into P8. So it seems to be going well, this sprint race for you. And further back, it's getting feisty. A is been the center point for a lot of battles here. Currently, he's battling it out with Zelda. This is the corner where his P8 was lost on the previous lap. There is contact with the Subaru. Lamborghini versus Subaru. Lamborghini takes to the grass and has a grand old spin. D-Dubs makes contact. JMS makes contact. And A is having just a Ferris wheel moment right now. That is pretty shocking for A's race, but it's all unfolded in these final few laps. Tapper up to 14th, you can see JMS ahead of him, and hello Rocket. You can see a JMS making a move into turn 1 on Nate. D-Dubs Needs to make up one more position to start in P1 for the feature. He will be desperate to do so, but I think Zelda will be even more desperate to hold this position in that case. Deco and Goose are going to be battling it out, but the battle outside the top 10 is where it's getting really feisty. Sapper, Nate, JMS, and I think Nate's been the loser in all of that right now. A has fallen to last position. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's have a look at these two. Yeah, I think they've settled into a bit of a rhythm as well. Dijkstra and Kachau. I think they're going to finish where they are right now. And similarly for these three, I think Fancy's been in control since the get-go. He's taken pole, and he is leading the race quite comfortably. This is the penultimate lap of the race for these guys. So, well, unless something very problematic befalls them, I think they are just going to be where they are. Well, yes, greetings to everyone in the chat. It's always good to have some drivers looking back at their eventful races that they've had. And I think we're about to see the conclusion to what has been a pretty entertaining race. Zelda in P10 is going to be the source of a lot of attention here. People are going to be vying first position left, right and center. The first of whom will be D-Dubs, the Merc, although he is a little too far back right now. He needs to pick up the pace over this lap and the next one if he wants to have a proper shot at starting P1 for the feature. Zelda, however, I think will still be able to hold on. And people discussing hot temperatures. Well, I am used to it as well myself. My country is known for pretty damn hot, more often than not. But yeah, good to see. I think some of you guys are on holiday, so this is going to be quite entertaining for you. Goose has made a movement. This is going to spice up the entertainment factor, I think. Goose has gone a little bit wide. Deco's lost the rear end, though that is not particularly pleasing for him, but he is a lot closer to Goose than he was a few corners ago. Let's see if he can make a move, probably going into turn 1. Let's have a look. The exit here is so incredibly crucial. Goose has got a good exit. I don't think Deco's not going to be able to do a whole lot here. As a result, up front, this is the final lap. Everyone here is going to hold the positions. I'm pretty sure of it. Let's just have a look between Deco and Goose, who's going to come out on top. Deco trying for a move down the inside, an aggressive move. No, he's too far back. That was, I shouldn't even have called that. What about Zelda and D-Dubs? D-Dubs is a lot closer, so he has picked up the pace in these final 2 laps. Let's see if he'll be able to find a way past the Subaru. Zelda will be desperate to hold on to this P10. What about Deco and Goose? Are we going to see Goose lose a position on this last lap of the sprint? What about Cherry? Cherry has just not had a very pleasant race whatsoever compared to his teammate, especially Fancy, who's been leading from the very get-go. So, what about this? Dijkstra have his tires fallen off? I think his tires have fallen off, so he's sliding around. This is a similar fate that fell a few laps ago as well. Goose and Deco, there's a lot to follow. I think they will all hold position, no matter how close they are to the driver ahead. Fancy has won the race. LT in P2, Epsilon finishes 3rd, Kling in 4th, Great Dane Dijkstra finishes in 5th, keeps Turbo Boy at bay despite a late scare. Cherry finishes in 7th, Goose will hold off Deco. And what about these guys? D-Dubs got close but not close enough. Zelda will finish in 10th, that will be P1 for the feature race start. GMS in 12th, Sapper will be very upset with how this sprint has gone. He'll be 13th, YQ will finish in 14th, A is 15th, and I'm assuming Nate has had a pretty disastrous moment in these closing laps. He will be 16th and last for this sprint race. So there you go, that is 12 laps of the Sardegna circuit done, and now we move on to a 30-lap feature race. So we are going to, and thank you to Kling for uploading the replays. Let's have a look how this is going to unfold. Indeed, well done, LT. That was a pretty well held video. Let's have a look at the strategy options. Zelda has, I think, put in a lot of effort to hold on to this the P10 in the sprint, and this is why it is going to give him P1 for the feature. He is going to be on the hards. So is Deco. Goose has opted for the mediums. I don't expect anyone to be on the what do you call it? On the softs. Yeah, yeah. LT. I think for once that was a bit of a run of good luck for you in the races I've seen, because it is usually you having some tire issues or just some unfortunate, untimely contact that causes quite a bit of grief for you. So I'm happy to see it was a good P2 for you. Cherry in P4, and GMS telling me to expect the unexpected. That's always good to know before a 30 lap race. Cherry in P4 on the hards, so is Turbo. Dijkstra on the mediums, Kling on the hards, Epsilon on the hards as well, so is LT, and Fancy Locks completes the top 10 also on the hards. Outside the top 10, A is on the hards. So, no. Oh, all right, we have some winners taking a chance with the softs. The Sapper's definitely going for a two-stop, no matter, at the very least, no matter what he does here. He is going to be starting on the softs in P12. This will give him pretty good advantage at the start of the race. Nate in 13th is on the hards. GMS is alright. I think the order is a little mixed up, is it not? Because Nate was 16th. He should be 16th, yeah, for the feature. The order is a little mixed up here. I think there may have been some error or some mix-up during the grid setting, but nonetheless, I think that is something for the stewards to decide, not for me to decide. Nate is on the hards, JMS on the hards as well, D-Dubs is on the hards, and Y-Cube is at the tail end of the order, also on the hard tires. So a lot of people opting for the hard tires, and JMS saying, yep, order was a little messed up. I think that is something that can be looked at with the stewards at the stewards' discretion, or maybe it's just something to keep an eye out for before the next race at Monza. Now, before we start, I'll just take a moment to pause the stream. Back. Yes, I think we should be live again. Let me have a look. Alright, we are back. Yes. So that is the tire situation, that is the grid order. Let's go. Zelda will lead them away, and based on what I've seen on the Discord channel, I really want to be looking at Zelda's cinematic camera going into turn 1. Well, isn't coming, but it's going to be a throwback to Subaru's very, very popular days in another field of motorsports. Zelda leads them away into turn 1. As we go up the hill, he is going to take turn 1 and I think almost immediately find natural habitat of the WRX, which is off the tarmac. An incredibly dramatic start for Zelda season. Go from P1 to P15, and it's been one corner. That is very dramatic. Deco is now in the lead. Because I've looked from Deco's perspective, where he could just see Zelda ahead of him. Absolutely have the most dramatic moment that he's seen in a while. Deco may not have he just would have not been able to believe his eyes at that moment. P1's just come his way, and the Alpha leads. Goose and P2, Cherry and Turbo. Whoa! Turbo and Dijkstra battling it out, carrying over the battle from the sprint into the feature. So one of them is on the mediums, that's Dijkstra on the mediums. Look at the grip advantage that the Audi got, and that is contact. That's a lot of contact between Dijkstra and Cherry, will find the wall. Cherry will. Oh my word! I think that was Kling, was it not? Yeah, that is. Oh my word! We need to have a few looks at this. So that's Dijkstra and Cherry who are going to make contact here. Cherry is going to be sent into the wall, and once he comes back, Kling is going to get absolutely caught up in this melee here. Epsilon and LT are also going to have to take some evasive action, and somebody further back, that's Fancy. fancy locks. The sprint winner is facing sideways, facing the wall, and I'm sure wondering what resulted in him having to face the wall. So that's Kling's rejoin there, and that's Fancy making contact with A, and my word, that is utterly chaotic. And look at this Zelda. Yeah, Zelda also having a pretty problematic race. From P1 and P4 at the start in qualifying, the two beamers find themselves 15th and 16th. One of them is sideways to the track, perpendicular to the track. How quickly fortunes can change in racing. Deco leads and has a very feisty Goose right behind him. So Deco's on the hards, Goose is on the mediums. Obviously, you would expect Goose to have a better time right now, given his grip advantage. As we end lap 1, Deco's still ahead. Dijkstra, Turbo, these guys are battling it out, but now it is Dijkstra in 3rd, Turbo in 4th, Epsilon in 5th. LT has made his way up the field a lot better than his race start seems to have gone a lot better than his teammates. As we can see, we have a few bit of contact here. YCube, GMS and Nate. GMS and YCube battling it out. YCube trying to make amends for his poor sprint race. GMS trying to find a way past the Jaguar as we go into this left-hander braking zone. Yeah, I think GMS will have to hold on to this position for now. YCube's had a pretty good start, I think. He started outside the top 10, so trying to make some moves up front. Let's have a look. Sapper's had a good start. Sapper's up into P8. And we can see some position trading going on here. What is happening here? This is the battle for the lead. Deco still being chased after by Goose right now, but as we go towards this braking zone, are we going to see Goose go for a move outside, inside? He goes for the outside. Is there going to be contact, or what's going to happen here? Because is Dijkstra going to make the move? Yeah, they're side by side. They're trying to level alongside one another. Goose trying to make the move on the outside. Deco trying to hold onto the inside line, but no, there's not a whole lot that he can do. A little bit of contact between the McLaren and the Alpha, and Dijkstra tries to just barge his way past. The two medium runners now run 1 and 2 in this race, and it is lap 2. Goose leads the way from Dijkstra. Deco falls to P3. Lost 2 places in the span of a few corners, and now he has Turbo Boy right behind him. Epsilon is not too far behind either. Epsilon is being troubled by LT Rocker. Kling, after that very, very dramatic start, is still in pretty respectable position. He's still in P7. There's still a long way to go here. What about LT and Epsilon? Are we going to see a move being made here? I don't think so. LT will hold on to P6 for now. Epsilon got a little bit out of shape there, but still holds on to his position. And here Dijkstra is on a mission. Absolutely, that was a very aggressive move. He didn't want to waste any time stuck behind the Alpha there. Just buzzed his way past. But now I think you can see why he's so desperate to do so. Look at the advantage these two have. You need to make the most of your car advantage while your tires are fresh, and Dijkstra I think will be very keenly aware of that, and I think we're going to see a similar move here. Incoming into the braking zone, there's a little bit of contact. Goose and Dijkstra, and Goose will not be happy with that little tap there, but Dijkstra once again is trying to barge his way past at this very corner. This is where he made the move on Deco the previous lap, and this is where he's going to try to make a move on Goose on this lap. Lap 3, Dijkstra tries to attack Goose for the lead of the race, and I think he will succeed in doing so. Goose will settle into a rhythm for these corners and just try to make a move into turn 1. Dijkstra takes the lead. Goose now down to P2. Deco has been able to hold off Turbo Boy, and he can see the two ahead of him battling it out. So I think he will also be keenly aware that all he needs to do is just be smart, just bide his time right now in this moment, and wait for these guys to battle it out amongst themselves. And yeah, I think Dijkstra has a tendency to be a bit aggressive. Which was the previous race? It's not Interlagos, but I think it was Daytona. Dijkstra was quite aggressive as well. So I think not very popular with the other drivers. Epsilon and Turbo. Are we going to see Epsilon go for a move here? What about LT? LT, given the rate at which the Subaru eats up the tires, I think LT will just be a little cautious with how he uses the tires. He's on the hard, so we should see him have a pretty reasonable strategy as well. Turbo coming under pressure from Epsilon. The extra leads. Goose is not able to hold on to the back of the Audi, and I think it's not helping that Deco's putting him under quite a bit of pressure as well. So Goose is in a bit of a sandwich. He needs to gather his momentum and gather his mind, I should say, and just focus on putting in some consistent laps in. We're about to start the 5th lap of 30, and the fastest lap belongs to Dijkstra, who has put in quite a bit of effort to get into P1 at 20.9. That's a pretty reasonable time, sliding around a little bit by Dijkstra. And well, yeah, it does look pretty interesting here. Epsilon and Turbo battling it out, and the very decked out Subaru, as JMS has said, is trying to find a way past Epsilon, and does so. Epsilon, in his bid to try and get past Turbo Boy, has lost the place to LT Rocker, and Turbo's gone wide again. I think that's just Turbo's line. I don't think he is going wide there. I think that's the wrong observation that I'm making there. Sapper is in 7th. He's got past Kling. Kling is not having a good time of this either. Kling is on the hards. Obviously, Sapper on the softs, we're going to see him box within the next, say, 3 laps or so, I would assume. They're not going to hold on that long, but Turbo Boy, what happened there? Turbo Boy finds himself facing an Italian barrier. I hope it's an Italian barrier. It is, yeah, it is in Italy, this track. The Turbo Boy just put the power on a little bit too aggressively, and that has resulted in him losing so much ground. LT now up to P4. He made that one overtake, and that is, in one way or the other, resulted in him moving up to P4. He will be very glad with that. Someone who will not be happy is Turbo Boy, who has got damage and is now at the, well, almost last. He is in second to last position. He is in 15th place. How quickly fortunes change. Deco's gone off circuit there, and if he did not lift up the throttle enough, that may be a penalty for him. We will keep an eye out for that. LT coming under pressure from Epsilon. As we start lap 6, Epsilon is not been able to make a whole lot of forward progress here in this race. And yeah, I think LT, I share that sentiment as well with my Beetle. The Beetle is very good, but it eats up tires as well. Like, it's very hungry with, every time I start a league race. Yes, some of these cars are very, very hungry with their tires, and some are pretty kind on them. I think the McLaren is notoriously kind on its tires. I could be wrong. No, Alpha and McLaren. The extra leads, he has a pretty decent lead right now. It's not a commanding lead. Goose, I think, has just settled into a rhythm as he needed to, and he is just finding some consistent lap times. I think he'll be looking to minimize mistakes here. And if he does so, he should be able to get a lot closer to Dijkstra. Deco, I'm pretty sure, is just gonna hold on to it. I think he's realized at this point that the two ahead are definitely on a different compound. Sapper. No, that's alright. Sapper, I'm assuming, will have to box. Yeah, Sapper, I was gonna have a look at his soft tire. So he is boxing early. I think with this tire where he could have won one more lap, given himself a little bit of an advantage towards the end of the race, but Sapper's boxing. He is getting rid of those soft tires, I think, a lap earlier than what he could have, but let's see how his strategy goes. He may just have pulled off a master stroke here. LT is sliding around the rear end of the Subaru, not very compliant with LT's throttle inputs as we go through this left-hander. Epsilon, I think, is just beginning to get a little bit frustrated here. He's just not able to find a way past the driver ahead. What about Deco? Deco, I think he'll also be... I think Deco will just settle into a consistent rhythm. Yeah, I expect to have him box around 16? Up 16, 17? That's what would be expected. What's happened here? Epsilon... I did see him brush the gravel. I didn't realize he went completely onto the gravel. Oh, he's missed his braking point. He slid onto the gravel there. And Kling will be so pleased with that. He gets P5 out of it. Epsilon loses the place and gets first down to P6. Sometimes the car is just not compliant with what you want to do. Neither are the tires. I think Epsilon after his little excursion there, will also be feeling that, because when you have dirt and gravel on your dirt and grass and all that on your tires, it is really problematic. Now Epsilon coming under pressure from Y-Cube obviously, if you remember, had a pretty shocking sprint race. He is looking to make amends for that. He can see his teammate in the distance, Kling Pichau, as he takes turn 1, but what can Y-Cube do? Can he get past the Lamborghini? Epsilon, I think, will still be a little flustered after that little gravel excursion. What about JMS, D-Dubs and Nate? They're also in a hold position for now, as they are. Nobody's close enough to one another. Zelda, after what I think has to be described as one of the unluckiest starts to a race in a while, is in P12, has a little bit of contact with A and Zelda side by side, and A finds a way past, but Zelda has the inside line. Let's have a look if Zelda is able to do anything about it, about regaining that position. They're still battling it out side by side. And I think, yeah, A will have to settle in behind the Subaru only for a moment though. Let's have a look at from A's perspective. We go towards the uphill braking zone. This is where we've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes here. Zelda, you can see just sliding around. I don't think there's a whole lot of grip there for the American in the Subaru, and neither is there any grip for A in that very moment. Has a little bit of a slide there and falls back slightly. Let's have a look at midfield here. So Y-Cube got past Epsilon. Let's have a look why. Oh, Epsilon had a penalty. I'm assuming that's for the last corner, although I'm pretty sure there was no issue the last time around. Maybe it picked up at some other place around the lap. We'll have a look once the service penalty. I think Y-Cube will be pretty happy to see Epsilon slowing down and being given a free position. Epsilon down to 7. So let's have a look what happened here. So, where does he get the penalty? Epsilon. At this corner maybe? Takes the outside line a little too aggressively. Well, I don't think that is fair, is it? He lost more time than he gained, Epsilon, due to that moment. And that results in him losing a place to Y-Cube and falling to 7. That makes no sense. I personally, to me, it makes no sense. A driver goes onto the gravel, loses time, and gets hit with a penalty. Sometimes this game is not particularly logical, or maybe it's just doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now. Y-Cube has made up a... Yeah, I think it's a very... Some of these penalties are just very questionable. You need to really wonder what Polyphony was doing at times. I can remember also one of the guys in Brazil got a 3-second penalty for losing time by going off track. Goose, once again, I think he's the only driver who does this. He has decided to turn on his wipers and absolutely go at it. You can see from his onboard here, this is how a racing the view a racing driver needs during an intense battle. You need the wipers on to remind you to go left and right to make the overtake. Yeah, I'm just trying to find some analogy here, but nonetheless, I like to see the fact that Goose has the wipers on and is putting Dijkstra under some pressure. Into turn 1 we go. Dijkstra still too far ahead, but I think Goose has got a lot more confidence now than he did a few laps ago. LT and Deco have just settled into a bit of a rhythm here. They just want to get ahead in the pit stop phase. Epsilon has lost a lot of momentum now. JMS gets past the Lamborghini. Epsilon will try to fight it, and will JMS be able to do something about holding off the Lamborghini? I think he should be able to, or will Epsilon be able to get back ahead of the Alfa Romeo into this left hand? There we go. Gr3 versus Irishman, and Epsilon will hold on to 7th. And D-Dubs, I think we can have a look from his perspective. We'll be seeing the two ahead of him having a pretty intense skirmish, and he'll be just waiting to pick up the pieces. Further back, Turbo in 10th, Nate in 11th. So the two Peugeots are currently not in the position they would like to be. I'm sure they will be hoping for greener pastures once they make their pit stops. Peugeot also, I think, pretty decent with its tires, so I don't assume there should be any issues here. D-Dubs is desperate to find a way past JMS, who is in his new livery era. Do I call it that? JMS in the new livery, deluxe livery in the Alfa Romeo. As we exit the last corner, that is Epsilon kicking up a lot of grass. Has that resulted in a penalty? I don't think it should, and it has not. So we will probably be seeing Dijkstra and Goose into the pits. Give or take 3 laps. I think that is about the time you could expect them to come into the pits. I'm very keen to see what Goose does, because the way the McLaren is, it would be a bit of a gamble for him to take the softs. I would assume he would not do so, but let's see. JMS saying the referee is bad luck, but it looks pretty nice. Oh, Turbo is trying to fight D-Dubs here, so it is a pretty striking livery, I must say. It's nice splash in color, so I would think it's a pretty nice thing to do, changing up your livery every once in a while. D-Dubs and Turbo battling it out, that gives JMS some breathing room and some fear behind him to just only worry about getting past Epsilon ahead of him. D-Dubs now has to keep Turbo at bay. Nate is still too far back, he's not able to challenge his teammate right now. Zelda in 12th coming under pressure from A in 13th. We will have a look further back at what Sapper has decided to do, because I'm sure Sapper will be on 2-stop. A and Zelda battling it out. And into this left-hander we go. This is where we've seen a few overtakes, but not on this occasion. No, never mind. Zelda. Oh. Well, for a moment I thought I was going to have to give some sad statement about how Zelda has found the wall, but somehow that is very good car control. Loses the rear end there, Zelda, but that's not a very good camera angle from the game. And he holds on to P12. Fancy in 13th, Sapper in 14th. Fancy in 14th, Sapper in 15th. Sapper's gone for the mediums, so he's gonna probably go for a soft medium. Let's find out. Cherry is still running a long way off the next car. So the two Beamers are having a pretty disastrous race. Dijkstra is really pushing this set of tires. He is trying to build up as much of a gap as he can to Goose. But Goose is, I think, playing it smart here, just trying to buy this time. His tires are in much better condition than Dijkstra's, especially the rear left you can see there. Dijkstra's is at like, I want to say 25% or so, and this is at like 40-45%. So Goose can play around a little bit more with strategy. I think he will come in around lap 17 or so into the pits. LT, his tires are starting to wear out, as you would expect. The Subaru has been quite notorious this season with its tire wear, and the Jaguar of Klinkachow is slowly but steadily catching up. Y-Cube has a penalty. Epsilon is too far back. It won't really affect Y-Cube. I don't think he'll be overtaken right now. It will affect his race, obviously. And he takes to the grass. What about Kling and LT? Yeah, Kling is a little too far back. Yeah, I think that is exactly the case. I think LT's tires are a lot akin to Dijkstra's tires, but the trouble is Dijkstra's on mediums, LT's on hards. And look at the front. Not just the front end, actually every tire is in a pretty bad condition for LT, so it's really doubtful what he's going to be able to do with strategy, because I think he will have to drag it out till lap 17 in any case, because the mediums will definitely be wearing out faster than the hards are, and that will just be very problematic for LT in the second phase of the race, second part of the race. The pit stop phase is done. Goose, don't discount him yet, he could still be having a pretty good chance. Once they make the pit stops, Dijkstra's tires are starting to wear out, but I'm assuming he will be going for one more lap at least. Will he? Let's find out. Dijkstra is gonna stick close to the inside, and my prediction is immediately proven wrong. Dijkstra dives to the inside and comes into the pits. Goose pits as well, and that allows Deco for the first time to take the lead of this feature race. LT is in P2, Kling in P3, Y-Cube in P4. The trouble for Dijkstra and Goose is going to be that they're probably going to come out in traffic somewhere around, I want to say, these guys, A, Fancy and so on. They're going to come out behind them, so you'd expect them to lose a little bit of time with traffic. Let's have a look. Yeah, actually, they're gonna come out last. Cherry, I think he had another spin or something. But let's see, Dijkstra and Goose, as expected, are out on the hards. We have a lot of drivers yet to make their pit stops. You can see here JMS and Turbo battling it out. These two, actually all three of them are on the hards. Nobody I think is on the mediums anymore. Deco in the lead. He has good tyre wear. If he does a bit of fuel saving, I think Deco can drag this out to maybe lap 20, 21 or so and go onto the softs. Because the Alpha in Deco's hand seems to be very fine on its tyres. Could Deco be up to something here? Trouble for these two is they are now obviously going to have to catch up to some traffic, and this is not going to help Dijkstra's case whatsoever. Takes to the gravel, and now Goose gets ahead. So they will be losing time with these guys when they catch up to them. What about LT and Kling? LT's front right is in pretty bad condition right now, and you can just see, look at how far ahead Deco's been able to get. The Subaru is just not very good with its tires, I think. In any case, Kling will be, I think, able to realize that LT is struggling with his tires. I would assume some of these guys will play it safe, go on to the mediums, but we could have somebody like Deco take a gamble and go on to the softs. Go deep into the race and just take a bit of a gamble here. He has free air though, and he has a pretty good run right now. He may just opt to play it safe and go on to the mediums. We're about to find out. We are approaching the pit lane in no time, and I think we've lost somebody. That's Cherry. Cherry's decided to call it quits on the race. Dijkstra is taking to the gravel a lot more than he ever needs to. So that is, he has the fastest lap from his first stint, but he's not doing himself any favors with all these off-track excursions. This is really hurting his chances. Goose is able to stay ahead of him. Deco stayed out. I think most guys will stay out. LT also stays out, and LT is saying you play on the wheel. I think the wheel tyre wear is quite a bit different from the controller tyre wear. Turbo comes into the pits. He is on the hards, and I'm assuming he just wants to play it safe, doesn't want to take any chances here. We'll go on to the mediums and call it at that. Sapper is pitting. He will also, I think, just go on to the hards and finish the race from here, or will he go on to the mediums? Well, we'll find out. Dijkstra and Goose have got past them, as you would expect it to be the case. Up front, these two battling it out, Fancy and Zelda. So the Beamer's having a pretty disastrous race, a race to forget in every form of the word. Fancy was running outside the top 10. He was facing the barrier at one point, perpendicular to the track. So I think any points that he can gain here will be very, very beneficial for his cause. I will have a look at the championship standings after the end of the race. Zelda getting a little bit out of shape there, and his tires are in just as bad a condition as his teammate LT Rockers are. The American is just about able to hold up the Brazilian, but it doesn't seem like he'll be able to do a whole lot with the front right being in the condition that he is. You can just see it, Zelda is being given no grip by this set of tires. Hards is 2-0 laps. Hello Bandit. And that's Fancy into the pit lane. Epsilon has pitted as well. So he is going to go on to the mediums, no doubt about it. What do these two do, Zelda and LT Rocker? I'm assuming despite the tyre wear situation, they should still be able to finish the race on the medium. 20, alright, yeah. Yeah, for some cars it's not 20 laps at all. As you can see here in the case of the Subaru, they are really struggling, the pair of them. LT is getting ever closer to a puncture, but there's still some tire life left in here. I'm assuming he could pit now, LT Rocker. This would make sense. 12 laps on the medium should be doable. Or is it a bit of a gamble? Does he need to go one more lap? Kling has just been biding his time. Deco, all this has allowed Deco to build up quite a respectable gap, and he doesn't have a whole lot of fuel left. I think he may just take it till lap, I want to say 20. LT pits as expected from the Subaru, and he is going to go into the mediums. I'm sure he is not going to take a chance with the softs. YQ pits from the hard as well. GMS will stay out for one more lap. D-Dubs comes into the pits, and I'm thinking that is going to be a pit lane cut. A comes into the pits, Nate comes into the pits, so does Zelda. So all the hard runners getting rid of their tires. It's going to be very interesting. I want to see what tires they opt for. So Goose and Dykstra are past all these guys who have pitted. LTs come out on the mediums, so that was expected. I want to see what these guys do, YQ, D-Dubs and so on. So I think the only driver who can really take a gamble on the softs is Deco and JMS. Whoa, that is close between YQ and Epsilon. As we go towards turn 1, Sapper will try to find a way down the inside, make a move, and he will make it stick. Sapper is on the softs. That's a gamble. I don't think it's gonna out in his favor. There's 12 laps to go. Sapper's tires are already wearing out. YQ's on the mediums. Turbo had pitted earlier. D-Dub's on the mediums. So is A. Fancy had pitted earlier. He's on the mediums. Nate is on the mediums. And Zelda has also opted for the medium tires. Deco pits. Alright. So he's pitted on lap 18. He doesn't want to probably take a chance for that. Yeah, I'm sure Sapper has to pit again. There's no way the softs are getting to the end for Sapper. Even if it's not as tire hungry as the Subaru, the Ferrari will still not be able to get 12 laps on these softs. Deco pits, and I'm sure this is going to be for the softs. Doesn't want to doesn't want to take a chance right now. JMS, well, he pitted at the perfect time given his fuel situation. Goose and Dykstra take the lead of the race. However, they have Deco now behind them on the mediums. LT Rocker is on 1 lap older mediums. He will have to be very mindful of his tire wear, but he is in a good position himself. It's now a battle between these guys and Deco. Deco's on the mediums. You would expect him to have an advantage from the get-go. But how long will it be before they can get past before he can get past the battling two ahead of him? Kling in P5. He will also just be need to bide his time here. Epsilon on the mediums. He has not had the most memorable race. It's been an eventful race, but it's not been a very memorable one for him. Turbo in 7th. I think we'll just be looking for damage limitation after that early moment. This race weekend has been topsy-turvy, that is one way to call it. Sapper has to pit again. It's just a question of when. Y-Cube in 9th as D-Dubs close behind him, putting him under pressure. A in the Lamborghini is going to be looking for a way past, but it's going to be difficult for him, given that they're all vying for this P8 that Sapper presently holds. As we come towards the end of lap 19 of 50, Sapper has gone a little bit deep into that corner, and that's going to allow Y-Cube to get a fantastic run on him. They draw level alongside. No, I think Y-Cube made a bit of a mistake there. This is going to get feisty. Into turn 1 we go. A versus D-Dubs versus Y-Cube versus Sapper. Who is going to come out on top at the end of this? Is D-Dub's going to go for a move? Is Y-Cube going to go for a move on Sapper? There was almost contact between them, and somehow they all hold position. Well done to them for not coming to blows at that moment. Somebody's kicked up a lot of gravel there. I think that is Sapper, who is having a bit of a skirmish with Y-Cube. And as we go to this uphill downhill section, Sapper has lost 1 position, and it may just become 2. A gets past the Ferrari as well, and I think D-Dubs will be next sapper is not doing himself any favors. Goose telling me that lap 22 is eventful. I will keep an eye out for that. Fancy Locks gets ahead of D-Dubs. D-Dubs was not able to find a way past Sapper, and in his bid to find a way past, he's lost a place to Fancy Locks. Fancy, I think, is in a decent position right now. He could probably get inside the top 10 by the end of the race. Let's find out. Up front, yeah, this is getting feisty. So there's so many battles to follow. This is what I love about this tour. I could be following the battle for P10 and the battle for P1. It's the same type of intensity. It doesn't matter what position you're fighting it out for. It's just amazing battling always to hold. Just amazing to watch always. Deco chasing after Dijkstra. Goose leads the way. LT, I think, will take a moment to figure out how well his tires are going to hold up. Dijkstra has gone a little bit wide. That is definitely going wide, unlike Turbo Boy's lines. Dijkstra has gone wide. That allows Deco to get into P2, but now there will be a very fast charging Audi behind him, and Dijkstra has been aggressive with his overtakes. I think I'll put it like that. I don't want to be saying anything else here. Dijkstra takes to the gravel and loses the place to LT, or does he? He will try to send it down the inside, and that is some contact there, and Dijkstra holds on to P3. LT, I think we'll be able to see that getting first ahead of him. All he needs to do is let these three battle it out in the way that they want to, and he just needs to pick up the pieces. But I don't think he wants to wait around for that. He will draw level alongside and try to get past the Audi into turn 1, and I think he should be able to do so. What about this? It is lap 22. Goose let me know that it was going to be very chaotic here, and I think for a good reason. Deco's on the mediums, Goose is on the hards. LT has got past Dijkstra. Goose will be coming under a lot of pressure. Deco on these fresher mediums will be very, very quick, and he is able to make the most of that grip by drawing level alongside the McLaren. And will he make a move around the outside? That is going to be very, very gutsy if he manages to pull it off, and he has managed to do so. Deco finds grip around the outside, but he's taken to the grass. That's not going to help out his cause. LT Rocker, will he be able to find a way past the McLaren as well, who's on the hard tires? LT's down the... Oh my word. Dijkstra absolutely kamikaze it into that corner. That is... Oh my word. There is opportunistic moves, and there is just... Yeah, I think Goose will be very, very upset with that, because that has completely derailed his momentum. LT's been able to hold on to P2. Now Dijkstra is ahead of him, and well, I will do so. LT's told me to watch it from his bonnet cam. Here you go. You can see LT is just trying to find a way past the McLaren of Goose. Deco's ahead, and here comes a wild Dijkstra, finds a way down the inside, and yeah, Goose will be quacking with anger. No, Goose doesn't quack, a duck quacks. But whatever, Goose will be making goose noises, which are going to reflect his anger quite appropriately. Dijkstra has made another honking, that is Untitled Goose Game. I was wondering what the term was, yeah. Goose has lost another position, and this is... Well, you do need to call into question the aggressiveness of these moves by Dijkstra. He is running in P3, but at the very same corner he's made two very, very aggressive moves, and I don't think the stewards will appreciate that. I don't have an idea if this has been reported or not, but I don't think he's going to be very popular with his fellow drivers whatsoever. Goose still using the wipers, so don't discount him. When Goose has the wipers on, you can never discount this McLaren driver. Indeed. Yeah, I think that is a very accurate number as well in regards to Dijkstra. Now we'll be seeing Kling on the mediums trying to get past the hard runner ahead of him. Dijkstra has been sliding at this corner quite a bit, and one report. right? I thought that quite a few people would have reported Dijkstra for the overtakes that he made at that corner. Kling gets a better exit compared to the Audi. Will he be able to find a way past? Yes, you can overtake there, but Dijkstra's not going about it, I think, in the best of ways, in the nicest of ways. And this time around, he will, I think, lose a place to Kling. I think that was obvious because Kling had the inside line, so you will ideally have the advantage there. So Kling now takes P3. LT will be keeping an eye out for his tire wear. Although I think it should not be too much of a problem for him. He's done a good stint on the hards. That was very important for his race. He will just be wanting to bring it home now. P2 will be a good finish. Nico will be very, very happy. Yeah, there is this particular track, I think, is notorious. We are going to see quite a few incidents here across all the tiers. I think even in my tier there were a few dives and incidents at this corner, at the corner where Dijkstra made the move. But yeah, we will have a look at the rest of the field. We have given a lot of airtime to those in front. We'll give a little bit of airtime to those in the midfield. Turbo Boy and Epsilon. Are we going to see the Peugeot come under pressure from Epsilon? Epsilon has gone slightly over the curbing there. I'm assuming that has to be a penalty for Epsilon. I was going to say, you never really know if you've lifted off enough until you get the answer from the game as to whether you have a penalty or not. A coming under pressure from Y-Cube. As we go into turn 1, Y-Cube is too far behind though, so it won't really amount to anything. Fancy Locks is in P10. D-Dubs has not been able to keep up with him, although Fancy Stars are older than D-Dubs' stars are. GMS is running in 12th, so I think that's where the bad luck that he mentioned is coming into play. Zelda in 13th. After that early moment, it's just never been the same for him. Nate in 14th is also not enjoying it a lot, and Sapper has made another pit stop. We missed that because we were focusing on the action out in front. He is on the mediums and down in 15th place. He has a tall mountain to climb if he wants to get back into the top 10. I would have thought he would have just gone for the softs, Sapper, and finished the race on that, but he decided to go for the soft. What did I say? Sorry, I thought he would go into the hards, but he went on to the softs. I think I said the other way around. Deco is about to start lap 26. This is 5 laps to go for the race leader. LT Rocker behind him. I think at this point, it is known that even if Subaru is close to you, the Subaru driver needs to always look out for his tires. LT is running in a very good P2, but he will have to take care of his tires to the end of the race. 5 laps to go. I'm fingers crossed he should be able to hold on to this P2. He's had quite a run of bad luck over the past few races that I've seen that have run comps for. Kling in P3, he can see the Subaru ahead of him struggling, so it's not over yet. But, alright. So GMS has kindly informed us that there are multiple reports against the extra. So that is unfortunate. It's been otherwise a pretty eventful race, even with all the little bit of contact. It's been quite interesting. But yeah, those 2 overtakes are not going to be appreciated, I think, by any of the drivers or by the stewards, I think, for that matter. But let's see what the outcome is. And the responses are not great. I would hope so. I think in my tier somebody's replied with a image of the rule book for their as their answer. So I hope Dijkstra is giving some pretty memorable responses. Just an incident, says Goose. I sincerely hope that's not one of the responses. I would assume that should not be the case. But presently, they run 4th and 5th, Dijkstra and Goose. This is the same order that they exited the pits from. So Dijkstra was ahead of Goose, and through some magic on track, Dijkstra has found his way back ahead of Goose. LT will be keeping a keen eye out onto his tire indicator, especially his front right tire. He is close to Deco, but not a whole lot that he can do about it. And JMS has, I think, one of his. Okay, I cannot believe that is. No, that cannot be. That cannot be an answer. Really, GMS. If what you've mentioned is correct, I'm very surprised at that. Well, that I think brings into. Oh my word! I was just about to mention. That is very reminiscent of the grandmother had wheels. She would have been a bike statement. Yeah, if that is the case, if what JMS has mentioned there is the case, it's just I cannot believe that is when the response to that. Dijkstra in fourth apparently has put in a very entertaining reply to the reports against him. I'm not sure it's for which incident, maybe it's for another incident. I'm not gonna probably comment on that right now, but he seems to be struggling a lot with the rear end right now, sliding around a fair bit. Dijkstra, well, it may not be over yet between himself and Goose, and as you can see very clearly, Goose is still has his wipers on, so you can never discount a driver who has the wipers on. Goose could still find a way past Dijkstra on track and finish P4 P4 on track. Yeah, fair enough. I think we will wait for the stewards' outcome to figure out what becomes of that. Goose could find a way past. Can Turbo Boy join this little battle here? What about A? Fancy and A have slowly but steadily made their way up the order. Fancy was running in 10th, now he's running in 8th. So, considering what we saw at the start of the race, he was perpendicular to the track. This is a pretty reasonable finish for him. I think he can be pleased with it, given the way it started. YQB in 9th, I don't think he'll be very pleased with this race weekend. T-Dubs as well, I don't think he'll be very happy with how the weekend has gone. Neither will JMS, nor will Zelda. Zelda is 12th, and it's been a very dramatic start to the race, and look at the state of his front right. What about his teammate? Oh my word, his teammate stars are in worse condition than... Well, let's have a look. LT Rocker, I want to say it's like 15% right now for LT Rocker, and Zelda's are slightly better. So LT, this is the penultimate lap, but that will still be cause for concern for LT Rocker. As we go into this right-hander, after right-hander, let's have a look. Is he going to be just very cautious here? Kling is far enough behind him that you don't need to worry about it. So I think the Subaru driver can just rest easy, bring it home. No need to wear out the tires too much on this upcoming final lap of the race. Deco, he's driven a very good race, and he will start the last lap in the lead, and I'm pretty sure he'll just be happy that he opted for the hards at the start of the race. These guys, though they didn't get caught up with a whole lot of traffic, Dijkstra and Goose, I think they still lost out by having the hards as the as the tires that they would finish the race on. So I think that really cost them. The hards to mediums may have been the way to go for quite a few of these drivers. Dijkstra and Goose have lost quite a bit of time. Dijkstra's right-hand side tires are really starting to wear out. His tires are in much better condition. So let's see if he can find a way past the Dutch driver in the Audi. What about Turbo? Turbo, it is the final lap, so there's not a whole lot of concern for Turbo right now in regards to tires or fuel or such. He can see the two ahead of him getting very close to one another. Should these two come to blows, Turbo would very easily be able to get up into P4 by the finish line. Further back, are we going to see any moves here? A and Fancy Locks. Fancy's got past A. Dijkstra and Goose are very, very close, but I think they will hold position. Up front, what about LT? LT Stars will just about hang on, but the driver who has given such a fantastic strategy, Deco, what a drive! He will come across the line, and I think we'll stick to the cinematic camera. He will flash his lights to signify that he has won the race. Very well done by Deco. Very well done by LT Rocker. Good strategy call. Just take that extra lap on the hards. Kling finishes in third. Dijkstra will finish ahead of Goose and Turbo Boy. Dijkstra finishes fourth, Goose fifth, and Turbo sixth. Fancy, well, it's a fantastic drive by him. Finishes in seventh. Great recovery. A in eighth. Bicube in ninth. D-Dubs, I think, will be disappointed with Peter, and I think there was potential for, I think, P7, P6 as well in there somewhere. JMS with his new livery finishes in 11th. Zelda finishes in P12, and thank you guys, that means a lot. Thank you very much. Zelda in 12th. Nate holds off Epsilon to finish in 13th. Epsilon hasn't had a race to forget, and Sapper, after making too many pit stops, will finish the last of the running cars in 15th place. And I think we will just end the race by having a look. No! Where is Goose? Oh, I wanted to see Goose's wipers running. Nonetheless, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to all the drivers for a very memorable race. Thank you, GMS, Deco, Goose. Thank you for the very kind words. It means a lot. We shall see you next week. It's Monza without the Turn 1 chicane. I'm sure I have the name. It's Variante Alta? No, that's Imola. Never mind. It's Monza. It's the Temple of Speed as we know it from F1. And it'll be a pretty memorable race. But that is next week. Thank you. From Sardegna, we say thank you very much. Take care and bye-bye.